Hello everyone, and welcome to the Advanced List lecture. So in this series of lectures, we're going to be diving a little deeper into all the methods available in a list. So these aren't officially advanced features, just methods that you wouldn't typically encounter without some additional exploring. So we've actually seen quite a few of these: append, count, extend, index, insert, pop, remove, reverse, sort. So we may have seen a lot of these already just by using lists and in the methods lecture itself. But let's go ahead and go over them just in case you need a fresh refresher. Okay, so let's start by making a very simple list. I'll call it L, and I'll have 1, 2, 3 in it. You definitely should have used this method by now. It's append. Whoops. It's the append method, and of course, it just appends an item to your list. All right. So we discussed this also a number of times, the count method. So we can use the count method and it'll count how many times an object occurs in your list. And it'll actually count whether it's in there or not. So notice how I counted 10, doesn't occur any times. 1 occurs once in my list. So moving along, here's one that you may not have heard of or may not have used yet. It's called extend. So many times people find the difference between extend and append to be unclear. So I'm going to show you by means of examples. So let's go ahead and make a list called X. It's just like Y, or just like the L list. It's going to have 1, 2, 3. I'm going to append another list to that. And this list will contain 4, 5. And I'm going to say print X. Okay, so what happened here? So remember, append just adds the entire element to the list. So what it's doing here is it's adding this and appending this list to an element in itself. Now, what happens if you wanted to extend this list into your original list? So that's where extend comes in. So now I'm going to show you again, but in this time we're going to use extend. So I'm going to say x dot extend and pass in a list again with just 2 elements, 4, 5. Then I'm going to say print X. So notice the difference here. You're actually adding in the entire list. So your extend will append each element in that iterable, and that's the key difference there. So again, just to cover, append is going to append elements, just the entire iterable, all the elements in it. And what extend does is append elements individually from the iterable. All right, so let's move along. Let's take a look at our L list. It has 1, 2, 3 in it, or 1, 2, 3, 4, excuse me. And index is another method that we've probably seen already. So what does index do? Index will return the index of whatever element is placed as an argument. So let's find the index of 2. And it's 1, right? Because indexing starts at 0, 0, 1. The object that the 1 index is 2. Something to note here is that you will get an error if you try to index something that's not in your list. And I'll tell you very clearly, value error 10 is not in list. All right, let's move along with insert. So what does insert do? Insert takes in 2 arguments. It takes in index and the object. So this method places the object at the index applied. So for example, let's just make sure we know what L looks like. L looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. And what I'm going to do is in that list, I'm going to insert at index 2 a string called inserted. So note the order here of the arguments. You put in the index first, and then the object you want to insert. So what does my list look like now? Notice how it has the inserted at the 2 index. So 0 index, 1 index, and at the 2 index, it's placed this string inserted here. So again, you put your index in first, and then the object you want to insert second. Okay, might be useful if throughout your code you really want to make sure that you know the particular index of an object. Okay. Moving along, you've definitely already seen pop, which allows you to pop off the last element of a list. So again, here's the list, and I can pop, and by default, it's the last element in that list. So I set lpop equal to le, and le, notice it was 4. And again, remember that change is permanent. It's in place on your list. Okay. So something else to note is that you can pass in an index into pop. So I could say pop 0. Notice how it's 1. So now L looks like this, 2 inserted 3. So what's another method for a list that we can use? Remove is another method. So the remove method removes the first occurrence of a value. So for example, I have my list, and let's say I want to remove that string inserted. So I pass in the value, and it will now remove it in place. So I want to show you one more example with this, just to make sure you get the idea that it's only removing the first instance of it. So here you notice my list is 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. There's 2 3s in it. So if I say l.remove 3, it's only going to remove the first instance of it. So that's something to keep in mind with remove. Another method we can use, if I see L here, is reverse. And as you might guess, reverse just reverses your list and reverses the indexes for them. So note that this occurs in place, so it will affect your list permanently. And we can also use a sort method on our list, and sort will sort your list also in place. So those are all the methods on a list. Some of them we've covered a lot, some of them might be new to you, but just go ahead and again review the Jupyter Notebook, make sure you understand everything. So let's just go a quick rundown of everything we learned. So append, you've definitely used this method. It appends an element to the end of a list. Count, we've discussed this as well, but it'll count how many times that object takes place in your list. Whether or not it actually occurs in your list, it won't return an error. Extend, here's the tricky one. Remember, in extend appends each element in that iterable, so it appends here 4 and 5, not just the list with 4, 5. Index will return the index of whatever element's placed in as an argument, but remember, it has to actually be in the list, otherwise you get an error. Insert takes in 2 arguments, first the index and then the object. So here we inserted at 2, this word or string inserted, and notice now it's inserted in the index 2. Pop, we've seen that already, it allows us to pop off the last element of a list, or we can also pass in a specific index if necessary. Remove, the remove method removes the first occurrence of a value, so we just saw an example of that. Reverse, as you know, reverses a list, and sort will sort your list in place. So both reverse and sort are in place and will affect your list permanently. Okay, that's it for the advanced lists lecture, which is basically just all the methods on a list, and some of them you wouldn't typically encounter without some additional exploring. Okay, thanks everyone, and I'll see you at the next lecture.